there's a wish list probably that you and maybe others in your party want, but it's up in the air. It does depend on Georgia in the Senate and reconciliation. It depends on a lot of different things. In a best case scenario, from where we are right now, what do you see Biden being able to do?
Well, so obviously, I mean, I totally agree with the analysis that a ton is going to depend on Georgia and control of the Senate. I mean, I guess, best case from my perspective is that Democrats win the Senate. I mean, no president gets every item on their agenda, but I think there is a lot of momentum or a lot of desire in the Democratic caucus, having been left out of the 2017 tax bill, to roll back some of the the more excessive elements, like the corporate tax rate going all the way to 21 and the top rate as well. I mean, of course, the first order of business is going to be stimulus and recovery, and I wouldn't expect that to be financed. I would expect, that would be probably deficit financed. But I think with the Democratic Senate, a lot of Biden's tax agenda is possible.
Right, but Rohit, unfortunately, I don't. I've got my own feelings on what Georgia is eventually going to do, but we can't say anything definitively. But just like election night, the paths, the paths for President-elect Biden to do a lot of the stuff are very difficult at this point. What do you think theoretically is really possible, Rohit, of all the wish lists he had?
Well, I mean, you're right. First of all, it hangs on Georgia. If the Republicans keep even one of those two seats, then I think most, if not all, of those tax increase proposals are off the table. If Democrats do sweep Georgia and end up with a 51-50 Senate, then I'm not sure that I agree that a lot of the Biden tax proposal is on the table. I do think that some of it might be on the table. But even a corporate rate increase to 25% would completely erase the net tax cut from the TCJA. And when you add state and local taxes on top, would put the U.S. at second highest in the developed world, second only to Portugal. And so, I think there's going to be some concern, even amongst moderate Democrats. And remember, in a world where Democrats have 50 seats, that means you've got a Senator Ossoff from Georgia, right? You got a lot of corporate America, a lot of Fortune 500 companies. And it'll actually be an interesting question to see whether a hypothetical Senator Ossoff is voting constituencies or is he voting ideology.
Hey, Rohit, there's been horse trading in the past that people point out that you would think that neither party would agree to, but they both get something that they want. Do you see any possibility that there's moderate, and we're throwing around moderate Republicans, moderate Democrats. Do you think any Republicans would go for 25% on the corporate tax rate, or they think we should stay at 21, don't you think?
No, I don't think so. I don't think there are any votes. And more importantly, if Mitch McConnell is your Senate Majority Leader, that bill never sees the Senate floor. So there's no prospect of raising the corporate rate to 25%. And if Democrats have the Senate, then in theory, if Seth's political math is correct, then they could do it with their own votes and they wouldn't need Republicans to vote for it anyway.
Right.
Hey, Seth, I was curious. I don't know. You probably looked, yesterday the Biden team put out its list of advisors for all sorts of the various departments that they're going to be looking at. And it was a fascinating list, but most fascinating to me that there were so very few people in the industry on the list. It really was a number of people from the Obama administration before, people with government experience. It was a very diverse list of people in some regard. But what do you think that says about the way the administration is going to be approaching business in the larger realm?
I think there definitely was representatives of business as well as labor, progressive groups like mine. So I think they're trying to find, a group that's representative of America as a whole. But, I do think it is going to be a very sharp break with the Trump administration where they put, corporate lobbyists in top positions, had more lobbyists in the administration than any before. So I think the Biden administration, Joe Biden, is certainly going to listen and involve, people in business and hear those views. But they're not going to be, he's not going to stack his administration with corporate lobbyists.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.